guys, it's Jenny. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Any stories or persons depicted in this video are for entertainment purposes only and fictional. Okay, so I realized that on the last one I didn't go through on loops as well as I feel like I should have. So here we have the matrix energy, how to read energy. So when somebody gets stuck in a loop program, it can be either something that a sentinel coded into your system, an ID tag hijacker, or a code hijacker coded into your system, or it can be that those types of people rerouted their problems to you. So maybe somebody threw this code onto them to stop them, but they just reroute it to the people around them. That's how tag stealers work, ID stealers work. Sentinels can be like that too. They have this kind of code. So basically, a loop program is basically like it can be a stigma loop. So maybe you have um, a situation where people have stigmatized you. Somebody launched a smear campaign on you, something like that. So now people have a stigma towards you. Um, so the other one is a debt loop. You can watch my video, The Magic Purse Affirmation review by Florence Scovel-Shinn, and how I was able to get out of a debt loop. That way, you can have a repair loop. Debt loop and repair loop kind of go together. And then caregiver loop, I talked about that one where basically you end up in a situation where you caregive or care for people or do work for other people or whatever, and you help them and all this stuff, and they just don't see your value. They just don't care. Um, they just like you are basically in their mind worthless, basically. No matter how much you do for them, they never see that as like you helping, and then um you end up being basically marginalized, or somebody takes all the credit for it. Like a sentinel usually will hijack the credit code for your work that you're doing, and this can happen to you even at jobs. Okay, where you do all this work, all this stuff, and you basically never get credit for it, basically, because somebody has uh, gotten the code routed their way. Okay, so that's the problem with the caregiver loop. You see it a lot with wives who were like stay-at-home wives, and then they get out of the relationship, and basically the somehow in the whole family's eyes, the provider, the breadwinner, the man was the only one who was really the provider, right? And this this woman's work, right? Kids are work. They don't feed themselves, they don't trust themselves, they don't regulate themselves. So you don't get any credit, and you walk out of that relationship kind of like just broke with nothing to show for it, because the person never like built you up, right? So you had already like a bad um marriage. So you can have a marriage loop, a malevolent marriage loop, or you could have a caregiving loop that's malevolent, basically, where you just end up caring and caring for somebody, and in the end you're left with nothing, right? So a health loop is where you just keep getting sick. You just keep getting sick. The doctors won't tell you what it is, but somebody knows what it is. This happened to me in 2014. I had an infection that became methicillin resistant or something like that, or penicillin resistant. And what happened was that my body was not able to fight it off because they kept giving me penicillin. And the hospital had not communicated with my primary doctor, and so I went through 11 months of almost dying until I did. And I flatlined. And if it wasn't because my heart started beating back up again all by itself. After minutes of being gone, I wouldn't be here to tell the story. But I woke up on a table. They had already declared me dead, everything, and nobody tried to resuscitate me. And basically, eventually, I was able to get to a doctor that told me that there had been a biopsy, like way, way long ago, sent to a lab that had already shown them the basically the emergency room already knew that I had this penicillin resistant strand of infection for staph, and they somehow still didn't. Nobody cared, basically, to tell me, and they kept giving me the wrong antibiotic on purpose, and I was getting sick and sick and sicker. They also gave me the antibiotic that I was allergic to, um, and told me to just take allergy medicine, despite the fact that you know that wasn't gonna help because you I I was not just allergic to that antibiotic. That antibiotic was toxic to my body, and it started to almost shut down my liver, and so yeah, it was crazy. I don't wish that on anybody. So I just kept going back to the doctor and trusting my intuition, and that's how I was able to break out of that health loop, fear loop. You can be in a fear loop. This one is like fear of driving, fear of, like leaving a relationship because you think your kids need this relationship or need this relationship with their father or whatever, and you think that staying with that person is gonna like keep that person in your children's life. Let me tell you, for whatever reason, the minute you split up with a man, it seems like he wakes up and wants to suddenly see his kids. So don't just stay in something because you're afraid that that's going to end the relationship with your kids or whatever. But yeah, you can have a fear loop. Um, you can have a fear of like leaving your you know kids alone with other people, and then you take on way too much responsibility, and then you end up in that like negative caregiving loop. Okay, so you can have a spending loop. It's where you end up getting in a situation where you have to just keep spending. Um, so those are pretty bad. Two, and go watch my magic purse affirmation if you want to try to get out of that kind of loop. Also, give money to a church. That will also get you out of a spending loop and will also help you with getting out of any type of like debt loops. I don't know why, but it does something. Okay. A bureaucracy loop is where maybe you can apply for a grant or you can apply for some kind of like help or whatever, a benefit or whatever through the government, and there's absolute and you absolutely need this, but there's absolutely no way you're going to get it because there's an endless amount of paperwork and rules that make aid programs nearly impossible, and so that becomes like inaccessible, and then you have these like time um timestamps and all this stuff. And you can also have a burnout loop. It's basically like where you go to get some kind of, you know, education or whatever, and you just start to feel like this is so much. And honestly, I know so many people who tell me they went for their associate's degree, and I don't know why it's only the people in California. I don't know what's going on, but um they went to go get like an associate's degree through community college, and they always tell me, they were there like 7 years because there was so much homework, so much to do, so many elective classes, so many things. And they said they had to get the associates. They're like, they couldn't go with the certificate. The certificate is like what you get after you get the associates. You can go back and go get another certificate, right? And the certificate, you don't have to do any general ed. But the thing is that in order to get into some of these jobs, you have to get the you have to get the associates. So you got to start there. And then there's some jobs you have to get the bachelor's just to work there, right? So yes, The other one you can get into is a travel loop. It's basically where you end up like no car, something like that. That's probably one of the easiest ones to fix because all you have to do is try to get basically to where you spend money on getting that car, and that will usually get you, a car. But if you don't have the money for it, then you're gonna have then it's gonna be harder, right, to get out of that situation. But I would just tell you before you go to sleep, if you are in that travel loop, before you go to sleep, rehearse the Neville Goddard um, affirmation. He has one where he says, "Though my senses deny it, though my vision denies it, um, I will continue to do it." Okay, I forget how exactly it goes. And then he also has another one where he says, "Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be washed as white as gold." Uh, and then you go from there. It's like a whole script. It's a whole script. One day I'll post it. If you want, go check out a channel on here by a user called Leela. She teaches like law of attraction, and go check out her channel. It's called Nevolution Japan or Nevolution JP. I can't remember exactly what it's called anymore, but I think it's called Nevolution Japan. And um, what you will find is that she had or has a video called Diary of a 19-Year-Old Kid, and that one is really interesting. It starts out with me and my father are one. It's really, really interesting script. If you ever get a chance to listen to that story, make sure you write down that script or read it right before you go to bed and fall asleep with the assumption that, the money's going to come for you to get a car or that the job's going to come for you to get a car despite your senses denying it, despite the economy, despite whatever it is that's going on. This is going to come to me. This code will be added to my code. This code will be added to my matrix. I will experience it despite the fact that my senses deny it now. It will happen. Okay. Even though you are denied, you will be approved. Okay. That's kind of like the energy of whole um that whole script. And I kind of wish I had it right now with me. But it's a really interesting one if you ever do want to go look at it. I would look for it right now, but I don't really have time to. But it just starts out with you like it's a whole script. It is a whole script. Um, and the end of the script it says, "And I have found him. I have found um him, the real Jesus Christ, the one from Scripture." Yes, it is Neville based, so it does go into like Bible philosophy, but it's superb. It is so superb. It's amazing. The one time that I did that, the entire city lost power. So I don't know what was going on, but the one time that I did that, the entire city lost power that night. And so, yeah, definitely try doing that one. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for your time and take care of yourselves.